What would you do if a 6-year-old girl in a red sweater walked into a billionaire CEO's office, handed him a handwritten resume, and said with trembling honesty, "I need a job. My mom is dying." This isn't the start of a movie. It's the moment that shattered one man's perfect, powerful world and pulled him into a story he never saw coming. A story filled with unexpected courage, quiet desperation, and the kind of love that refuses to give up even when all hope seems lost. Stay with us, because what happens next will challenge everything you thought you knew about strength, success, and what it truly means to show up for someone. This is not just a story about saving a life. It's about being saved by one small, determined voice. And it all begins with 5 impossible words: "I need a job, please." Nathan Carter didn't believe in surprises. Every part of his day was timed to the minute. From the moment his black SUV slid into the private underground garage of Carter & Wells headquarters in Manhattan, to the click of his polished Oxfords on the marble floors, to the untouched espresso waiting on his sleek glass desk, his life ran like the markets he dominated, fast, unfeeling, and precise. At exactly 8:02 a.m., he was seated in his top-floor corner office, skimming quarterly earnings reports with the cold precision of a man who hadn't let emotion cloud his judgment in years. So when his assistant, usually composed and polished, burst through the door, unannounced, breath shallow and voice tight, Nathan didn't even look up. "Sir," she said, eyes darting behind her, as though she were being followed. "There's someone here to see you. I have back-to-back meetings until 11. Tell them to make an appointment. It's a child." Now he looked up. "A what?" Before she could answer, the door creaked open wider. In stepped a little girl, alone, 6, maybe 7 years old. Red sweater, slightly too big, denim skirt smudged at the edges, old sneakers scuffed and untied. Her light brown hair was half-combed, her small backpack sagged on one shoulder, and her face was calm in a way that didn't make sense. She wasn't scared, not shy, not uncertain. She walked across the vast room of glass and concrete like she belonged there. And then, without hesitation, she reached up on her tiptoes and placed a wrinkled sheet of paper onto Nathan Carter's $1,000,000 desk. "I need a job," she said. Nathan blinked once, twice. "What did you say? I need a job?" she repeated, firmer now. "Please." He stared at the paper, a single sheet, handwritten, in large, uneven letters. "I can clean. I'm quiet. I don't cry in front of people. I can help. I can learn. Please." Drawn in the margins were tiny stars and a shaky heart. She had made herself a resume. Nathan slowly leaned back in his chair. For a moment, the world outside Manhattan's thrum, the traffic horns, the muted chatter of assistants down the hall faded completely. He looked at her again. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't a setup. She was completely serious. "What's your name?" "Lily," she replied. "Lily Johnson." "Why are you here, Lily?" "My mom is dying." Just like that. No tremble, no tears. Like it was the weather. Nathan felt something strange pull at his chest. He ignored it. "Your mom. She's at Westbrook Community Hospital. They say we don't have money for the treatment, so I came to get a job. If I make money, maybe she won't die." He stared at her. "Does she know you're here?" She'd have said no. "But I found your name in a newspaper once. They said you fix things, and your building is big and shiny, so I figured, maybe you could fix this too." Nathan didn't move. For once, he didn't know what to say. This child had walked through a security team into the nerve center of a billion-dollar company to ask him for a job because she thought he fixed things. And in her mind, death was just another thing to fix. His throat was dry. He looked down at the paper again. That shaky heart next to the word "please" suddenly seemed like it weighed 1,000 pounds. "Lily, how did you get up here?" "The man at the door let me in. He thought I was here with someone. I walked fast so no one would ask questions. Then I found the elevator with the gold letters. She had mapped this out. She had planned it." He couldn't think. "Wait here," he said suddenly, and stepped toward the glass wall of his office. Outside, his assistant was still standing frozen. He turned to her, voice low. "Clear my entire morning." "Sir, your meeting with the I said clear it." He turned back to Lily. "I'm taking you to your mom." Her eyebrows lifted. "You believe me?" I think Nathan said carefully. "You're the bravest person who's ever walked into this office." Lily looked like she might cry, but she didn't. She just nodded, adjusted the straps of her backpack, and followed him. Nathan Carter didn't do impulse. He didn't skip meetings. He certainly didn't walk out of Carter and Wells holding the hand of a 6-year-old girl in a red sweater. But by the time they reached the street, his phone was off. His schedule was forgotten. The city roared around them, but for once, Nathan didn't care about being seen. He opened the car door for her. "Ready?" She nodded, buckled her seatbelt like she'd done it 1,000 times before, and said, "It's not far, just across the bridge." The ride to Westbrook Community Hospital was quiet. Lily kept her eyes out the window, hands gripping her backpack so tightly her knuckles turned white. Nathan watched her in the rearview mirror. He had no idea what he was doing. He didn't know this girl. He didn't owe her anything. And yet, he couldn't look away. He didn't know that this moment, this single drive, would be the line that divided his life into before Lily and after. And he certainly didn't know what waited for him in room 12. But something inside him whispered that everything was about to change. We're truly sorry to pause the story here, but we promise what's coming next will leave you breathless. The moment Nathan opens the door to room 12, his world will never be the same again. Before we dive into next part, can we ask you, what would you do if a little girl walked into your life with a plea like that? Do you believe that true courage sometimes wears the smallest shoes? And just out of curiosity, what country are you watching from right now? If this story touched your heart even just a little, we'd be so grateful if you liked the video, tapped the heart, or shared it with someone who believes in second chances. The car pulled up in front of Westbrook Community Hospital, a dull gray building wedged between a shuttered pharmacy and a discount grocery store. Nathan Carter stepped out first, scanning the entrance like it was unfamiliar terrain. To him, hospitals had always existed behind donations, not through their front doors. Lily climbed out beside him, gripping her backpack tighter, her small frame stiff with anticipation. But her steps didn't waver. She didn't need to be led. She led him. As they entered the lobby, a tired-looking nurse behind the desk looked up, startled by the contrast, a little girl in worn-out sneakers beside a man in a $1,000 tailored coat. The nurse blinked, but said nothing. "Room 12, Lily said simply. "She's my mom." The nurse hesitated for a beat, then pointed down a scuffed hallway. They walked together. Nathan's footsteps echoed against the tile floors. The air smelled of antiseptic and something unspoken fear, maybe, or finality. Lily stopped at the last door on the left. Her small hand hovered over the handle. "She's really tired," she whispered. "Sometimes she doesn't wake up when I talk to her." Nathan nodded. He wasn't sure if his heart was beating faster from nerves or something deeper. Lily opened the door. The room was dim. Machines beeped softly. On the bed lay a woman so still, so pale, she looked like she could disappear if you blinked too long. Her name was Rachel Johnson. Wires ran from her thin arms to blinking monitors. Her cheeks were sunken, her skin almost translucent. Yet even in that fragile state, there was something undeniable about her, a kind of quiet strength that hadn't left, just gone dormant. Lily stepped forward like she'd done this every day, set her backpack down gently, and reached for her mother's hand. "Mom," she said softly, "I brought someone." Nathan remained near the door, frozen. The weight of this moment pressed against his chest like a stone. He'd faced boardroom betrayals and legal wars. But this woman, this child, this quiet desperation, it was unlike anything he'd ever stepped into. He approached the bed, kneeling beside it. "I don't know if you can hear me," he said gently, "but I met your daughter today, and I don't think I'll ever be the same again." Lily sat quietly, watching her mother's chest rise and fall, slow and shallow. "She used to be a nurse," she said, her voice low but steady. "She helped people. But when she got sick, no one helped her." Nathan swallowed the lump rising in his throat. "You did," he said. "You helped her." A nurse entered moments later to check vitals. She paused when she saw Nathan, recognized him, but said nothing. Something in her eyes softened. "She's stable," the nurse whispered, "but we can't afford to keep her much longer. She needs advanced care we don't have here." Nathan nodded. Then he stood and stepped out into the hallway. He made 2 phone calls. The first was to his private physician. He wanted Rachel Johnson's records reviewed immediately and arrangements made for an urgent transfer to Haven Crest Medical Center, the private hospital his company's foundation funded. The second call was to his legal team. Quietly, discreetly, he ordered that any and all expenses for Lily and Rachel Johnson be covered without publicity, without delay, whatever it cost. No red tape. When he returned to the room, Lily had her head resting on her mother's hand. Her eyes lifted when she saw him. "Are you really going to help her?" she asked. He sat beside her and took her tiny hand in his. "Yes," he said. "I promise." That night, Nathan didn't go home. He stayed in the hospital lounge, answering emails, redirecting meetings, canceling appearances. But his mind wasn't on any of it. His thoughts kept drifting back to that room, to that girl. At dawn, he returned with a warm paper bag, pastries, a fruit cup, and a small hot cocoa. He found Lily curled up in a chair beside her mother's bed, half asleep, her head tucked against her knees. She opened her eyes when he entered. "I got you breakfast," he said. Her face lit up, not with joy, but something else. Something older than 6 years. A kind of quiet relief. He sat next to her and explained the plan. "Your mom's going to a better hospital today. A team will come soon and take care of everything. You'll go with her." Lily listened carefully, fingers wrapped around the cocoa like it was a lifeline. "Will she get better there?" she asked. Nathan looked her in the eye. "She has a better chance now, and we'll be with her every step of the way." At noon, the transfer began. A private ambulance pulled up, discreet and swift. Nurses moved efficiently. Machines were unplugged, wires were checked. Rachel was lifted gently from the hospital bed. Nathan insisted on riding with them. Inside the ambulance, Lily never let go of her mother's hand. Nathan sat quietly across from them, making more calls, preparing a temporary room for Lily near Havencrest Pediatric Wing, arranging for comfort items, privacy, security. But he kept glancing over at Lily's hand wrapped around her mother's, refusing to let go. He realized something. Then he couldn't let go either. He didn't know when it had happened. Somewhere between that office and this ambulance, something inside him had shifted, and he wasn't going back. We're so sorry to pause the story here, but trust us, what happens next will take your breath away. Rachel's arrival at Havencrest and what Lily does next will change everything again. While you wait for next part, let's talk. Do you think Nathan is doing this out of guilt or something deeper? If you were in Lily's shoes, would you have had the courage to do what she did? Also tell us, what country are you watching from right now? We love hearing from all over the world. And if this story touched something in your heart, please tap that heart button. Give the video a like and share it with someone who needs to believe in the second chances again. The room at Havencrest Medical Center was nothing like the one before. It was bright, open, filled with natural light that filtered in through tall windows, warming the pale blue walls. There were flowers by the bed books on the nightstand, and a little drawing taped near the heart monitor, 3 stick figures, a woman, a little girl, and a man in a suit. Lily had drawn it the night they arrived. "This is us," she told Nathan. "My mom, me and you. Our family." Nathan didn't respond right away. He just reached out, gently smoothed the edge of the page and tucked it back into place. He hadn't realized how much he needed that word family until she gave it to him. Rachel remained unconscious for the first day and night, her vitals stable but unchanged. Nathan barely left her side. Lily dozed, curled in the corner chair, her small frame wrapped in the jacket he'd bought her earlier that week. And when the nurses checked vitals, when doctors whispered in cautious tones, Nathan listened as if everything depended on their next word. On the second morning, everything changed. Nathan had just returned with Lily's favorite cocoa and a bag of warm pastries when he heard the sound. A shift, a breath, then a whisper. "Lily!" He dropped the bag. The little girl froze in place. Her eyes widened. Mom Rachel's eyelids fluttered. Her lips were cracked, but her voice soft, raspy, barely there spoke again. "Lily." Lily rushed to the bedside, her hand wrapping around her mother so tightly it turned white. "I'm here," she said. "I'm right here." Nathan stood frozen at the foot of the bed, his heart pounding. Rachel opened her eyes slowly. At first they were unfocused, distant, but then they shifted and landed on her daughter, and then on him. It was a moment that felt both weightless and infinite. Not a dramatic miracle, not music swelling in the background, just presence, recognition, life. The doctors arrived within minutes, buzzing with quiet excitement. Words like responsive and stable were whispered like sacred things. But Nathan barely heard them, because Rachel had taken Lily's hand and smiled. Later that evening, as the room settled into peace again, Rachel turned to Nathan, her voice weak but clear. "I know I didn't ask for help," she said, "but thank you for giving it anyway." Nathan sat beside her, not as a CEO, not as a man of status, but as someone who had simply shown up. "Your daughter walked into my life," he said, "and reminded me of what I forgot how to be." Over the next few days, Rachel began to recover slowly but steadily. The medical team worked around the clock, and Nathan worked just as hard, not on contracts or corporate takeovers, but on making sure Lily had new clothes, books, a place to draw. He even arranged for a small desk to be placed beside her mother's bed so Lily could do her schoolwork. One afternoon, Lily came running into the room waving a piece of paper. Another drawing. This one showed a house, a garden, and the same three figures this time, standing in front of a home. "What's this?" Nathan asked. "Our new house," Lily said proudly. "When we all live together." He felt something shift inside him again. A deep, quiet sense that this wasn't just about helping anymore. It was about belonging. That night, Nathan sat with his legal team and arranged everything: temporary housing for Rachel and Lily in one of his buildings near the city park, full medical care and guardianship documentation if Rachel ever needed it. But most importantly, he asked his assistant to cancel everything for the next few weeks, because they came first now. Rachel moved into the apartment a week later. It wasn't huge, but it was beautiful. Light poured in through the windows in the morning. There was a small table where Lily could draw, a cozy couch, and a guest room that Nathan furnished himself in case he ever stayed late after reading stories or delivering breakfast. On the first night there, Lily climbed into his lap while they sat on the couch. She didn't say much. She just leaned her head against his chest and whispered, "You came back. I always will," he answered. And he meant it. Not because he felt guilty, not because it was the right thing to do, but because somehow, somewhere along the way, they had become his people, and he couldn't imagine life without them. The story didn't end with a grand gesture. No headlines, no speeches, just the steady beat of something rare and real. A man who once measured value in profits and power now knew the greatest wealth was found in the smallest moments: holding a child's hand, helping a woman stand again, showing up when it counted most. Lily had walked into his office asking for a job. Instead, she gave him a life. Now we'd love to hear from you. What moment in this story moved you the most? Do you think Nathan's transformation was about love or redemption? And tell us, how do you feel about the ending? If you loved it, type no 3 in the comments. If it didn't quite hit the mark for you, write number 1. And if it felt just okay, go with number 2. We'd also love to know, what country are you watching from? If this story touched your heart, please tap the heart and share it with someone who still believes in the quiet power of love, courage, and second chances.